What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Good morning. Good morning. Tuesday, March 17th, 8 a.m. Feel like we talked about 8 or 9 hours ago because I think we did. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of the show. Cheers to you on this fine Tuesday morning. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. No guests today. Just got to deal with me for a full hour. Oh, that's annoying. It's annoying to me. Got to hear myself talk for a straight hour. A lot of good stuff to get into this morning. Lakers 6 in a row, 9 of their last 10. Some good NBA topics as well that we're going to hit on. I'm going to spend most of the show today as well. I'm going to try to let as many listeners be involved in the show. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to X. That's where we're live this morning. You guys can now please subscribe to the channel. Of course, I would appreciate that. All right, let me give everyone a quick rundown of the show, and then we'll take a look at the comments again. We'll try to get. I feel like today's going to be a little bit more of a kumbaya type of show. You know, get everyone involved in the show. Read as many comments as possible. Here's what we got going on for the show today. Lakers winning in different ways. Ugly game yesterday. Oh my God, how bad were the Houston Rockets? Some of that caused by the Lakers, some of that caused by the Houston Rockets. I'm sure if you were a Laker fan, you didn't mind that the Houston Rockets looked like they've never played basketball before. But again, some of that has to do with the Lakers. I think winning in different ways and sometimes winning in ugly ways could be beneficial to the Lakers. I think we saw a little bit of that yesterday. I want to spend a little bit of time on that. Controlling their own destiny. What do we mean by that? We could simplify it. If the Lakers win tomorrow against the Houston Rockets, they got the tiebreaker over the Rockets, the Timberwolves, and the Denver Nuggets as they get ready for this kind of final push to the end of the season. Lakers handling business against these teams, not just above 500, but these teams that they're fighting against in the Western Conference. So we'll spend some time on that. Have the expectations changed over the last couple of weeks? What is now considered hey, you know what, that's a pretty good season. Hey, you know what, they went further than I thought. What's now considered a disappointment? I think we kind of look at how the expectations have changed around the Lakers. I also, since the Lakers have got a chance in this last, you call it a week and a half, really this last week. No, you call it a week and a half because they did play Denver. They had a game against Denver earlier. Because they've played the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Houston Rockets, and the Denver Nuggets, which team would you like to face in the playoffs? Which team, in the first round? Which team would you prefer to pump the brakes and rather not play that team? We'll kind of rank between those three teams that they could face in the first round, who you want to face most, and who you want to face least, I would say, between those three teams. Everyone playing their role. I thought it was interesting yesterday in the pregame. I don't have the pregame sound, but I do have the quote. JJ Redick basically talking about LeBron, the type of role he wants him to play. It's not just LeBron. I think there's a few other players here that are going to have to play a role for the Lakers. It's funny. Doing the prep this morning and trying to think, I'm like, is there something here between Ayton and Clint Capela? And I think as I sat here saying it to myself, I'm like, no, there isn't something between Clint Capela and DeAndre and Ayton. Just play a role. I think that's the conclusion that I came to, was like, yeah, everyone's just got to play a role. And that's obviously no different, not just LeBron, but some of these other players. Athletics did their NBA power rankings, got a few things around the NBA, including the NBA expansion. And then we're going to call it a day. So I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much. 2 quick reminders here. Number one, if you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, number one. Hit that notification bell so that every time we put up a new video, you do get a heads up that a new video is coming. And share it. Share it with anybody that you think would be a fan of the content and what we're doing on a day in, day out basis. Second thing I'll say, just to mention it as well, if you are not yet a member, please consider being a member. Love to continue to grow our memberships. An MVP member, just hit join. It's right there. You could either do it on your mobile phone or you could do it on your desktop. and you can become a member for $3 a month. It's a great way to support the channel. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here, and then we will get the show started. All right, let's see what we have here. Third seed, 6 games in a row. Great W yesterday. No Şengün, though. Hopefully Şengün plays tonight to really assess correctly. You're not wrong here. They don't play tonight. They play tomorrow. So let's also correct that here. They'll play almost identical to a playoff game or to a playoff series. So they're playing the same team twice. They're playing both games in Houston. And there is a day off in between games. So they'll play Monday. They'll play Wednesday. They played yesterday. They play tomorrow. Yeah, the Şengün piece, I agree with you. I would like to see the Rockets when he is playing because, yeah, I mean, obviously that team is not going to be the same team that they currently are. And they looked completely lost yesterday in that second half. And part of me is going to give a lot of credit to the Lakers on that front. All right, let's get some more in here. Good afternoon from Germany. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about here. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Germany. Let's get another one here. Call me cynical, call me skeptical, but I need to see Lakers play like this more consistently before raising the ceiling for what would be a successful season. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's the conversation that we'll have once we get into have the expectations change, have playoff expectations change. I think that's a good conversation to have, and I think it's not crazy at all for you to say no. I need to see more. All right, let's get the show started. Thank you again for being here, and looking forward to hanging out here for the next hour or so. Okay, so let me walk back to last night's win here real quick. I do want to play something for Kevin Durant as well. We'll do that in a second, but Lakers win again yesterday. Here's what I liked about the win yesterday. I felt like the Lakers have shown that they can win a couple different ways over this last couple of weeks. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Against the Knicks, they actually played defense. Against Minnesota, they played defense. Denver was more of an offensive shootout, if you want to call it. But this game against the Rockets yesterday was just a slugfest. I've told you guys this before, that the Lakers, it's kind of funny, and I remember it vividly because Lakers were about to play the Knicks on a Saturday. Oh, no, on a Sunday. And I went on a podcast, CP the franchise, who does a podcast for the Knicks. He came on my show on a Friday. I went on his show on a Saturday. And every time I was describing the Lakers, and to be honest with you, I don't think I was being negative. I think I was just talking about how I've watched the Lakers play for this entire season, that the Lakers don't want to muddy the water. That if there's a bar fight going on, the Lakers are the first ones to say, why don't we grab that back door and get the hell out of here before it gets ugly? They want to go 4 rounds. They're not trying to go 12 rounds. And I thought last night's win, and this isn't the only win that they've played like this, but I thought last night's win represented a different style of winning. I thought last night's win was a little bit of a slugfest. I thought last night's win was a little bit of a backyard brawl. It was you know what? Let's just let's go 12 rounds, and whoever's standing at the end is standing at the end. What I liked about last night's win is it's not typically the way the Lakers win, and it's not, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody looks at the Lakers and says that, yeah, that's the Lakers style. It's not the Lakers style. That's not how the Lakers typically. I mean, I've watched teams like the Boston Celtics. I've watched teams like the Phoenix Suns. I've watched other teams kind of grind it out against the Lakers. And a lot of times that's been my frustration with the Lakers. It's like, can they only win one way and everything's got to be going perfectly offensively in order for the Lakers to grab a W? Well, that wasn't the case yesterday. Lakers struggled. They struggled from the 3-point line. Austin Reeves, how many different games have we talked about? They said the stat yesterday, and I've been saying the stat on this show. I want to say it's 20-3 now when he scores 20 points or more. Well, he only had 15 points yesterday. He was really bad. Nobody could hit a shot in that fourth quarter, and the Lakers still found a way to win. The beauty with yesterday's game is They ended the game on a 15-2 run after not scoring a field goal for almost 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. Let me see as well here. There's a couple other stats here that I want to show. They forced the Rockets to 9 turnovers in that fourth quarter. And I think the Rockets had 24 turnovers total. They just played this wildly ugly game, and it worked to their benefit. So that's what I mean by winning in different ways, because if you can only win one way, to be honest with you, in any sport, if you're a one-trick pony, you can only win one way, then you need too many things to go scripted in order for you to pull out a W or a playoff game or a road win or something along those lines. Last night, that wasn't the case for the Lakers. And again, they won a little bit they won in a way that's not typical Lakers basketball. So that's why I'm encouraged by yesterday's win for the Lakers, because it was ugly. Because if you go watch on Twitter afterwards and you're watching about just how bad and how ugly the fourth quarter was, how both teams were struggling, how the Houston Rockets turnover after turnover, Austin Reeves airballing the three, Marcus Smart missing a couple of shots, Rui missing a couple. Everybody was missing shots. They still found a way to win. So that's what I liked about last night's game. Again, it's not picture perfect, but it doesn't need to be. And sometimes you need ugly wins, and sometimes an ugly win can be a beautiful win, because this is not the Lakers' style on a night in, night out basis. They look better when it's Luka looking pretty and LeBron with the dunks and Reeves with the 25 to 30 points. That's typically how the Lakers create W's, and they didn't do that yesterday. So I thought that part was important. And like I said, winning in different ways is important. I want to play one clip here, and this is Kevin Durant. Now, remember, Lakers got the Rockets coming up again tomorrow. So not only did they play him yesterday, they're going to play him again tomorrow. We'll see if Alperen Şengün will end up playing or if he won't. So we'll wait to see on it. The only reason why I want to play this KD clip is because I'm going to go away from yesterday's game, and we'll kind of start talking about some of these other topics. I've never seen Kevin Durant look so bad in a basketball game. I've never seen KD look so bad. I don't know what the hell was going on in that fourth quarter. I felt like it was rec league. And you had a coach that's never coached basketball before, and you had 5 players on the floor that were like, yeah, we don't know what to do. Let's just give the ball to our best player. It was some of the ugliest basketball I've seen in the fourth quarter. Again, it doesn't matter for the Lakers. You figure out a way to get a W. But KD yesterday, 2 points in the second half, 7 turnovers, 2 points, 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 2 from the three-point line, and 6 turnovers in the second half. Listen to KD's thoughts on the game.
We 5 for 26 from the three, and that usually helps when team a W at half court. You swing, make threes. But I missed 2 wide open threes when we were up to 1 point. I could have pushed us up 4. I just feel like I lost the game for us tonight. That's simple. I mean, my teammates could. I mean, of course, we probably can make more threes, but it's on me. I mean, to be honest, I'm the offense, and the opposing team is going to use all their resources and not let me get comfortable. First half, I got comfortable in ISO, comfortable coming off of pin downs, pick and rolls, and they decided not to let me get comfortable no more.
All right, that's KD right there. I'm going to say it again. I said it when I was doing the post-game show yesterday. If you guys want more kind of that in-depth analysis right after the game, obviously I'm reacting after every game, so you can go back to that post-game show. That's the worst basketball I've ever seen Kevin Durant play. And I don't know what the Houston Rockets were doing. They made no adjustments, and the Lakers were like, well, if you're not going to make any adjustments, we're not either. But it shows you how desperate the Rockets are for a point guard. They don't have one. And that will be their downfall. I don't think they're getting out of the first round. And I think if they ended up playing the Lakers, I think the Lakers would beat them in a 7-game set. Not that it's going to be easy, but a little bit later in the show, we'll kind of get into which teams would we prefer to play, which teams we'd like to avoid in that first round. But the Rockets and the Lakers got them again tomorrow. They'll be better tomorrow. Lakers will have to be better as well. If Şengün plays, obviously that's a big difference for them. Steven Adams is out for the year. Fred VanVleet obviously is out for the year. But watching the Rockets play yesterday, that is not going to be a dangerous team in the postseason. How do I put this? I don't want to say they're not going to be a dangerous team. Stylistically, the way they played yesterday will not last them in the playoffs. They can still change their, obviously their offense and how they attack teams. And they do play defense and they grab offensive rebounds. Give them credit from that perspective. But I was a little surprised to see just how bad they looked and how awful they were schematically. So Lakers will take that all day long. I'm pretty sure no one here is going to complain that the Rockets looked the way that they did. All right, let's take a look at a few of the comments here, and we'll keep things moving here on the show. Let's see what we have here. Let's get one of our supers in here. Listen, somebody throws money my way. That's what a shock here. I instantly go to where the money is. Thank you for the 5 spot. I appreciate it. Obviously, nobody's got to feel obligated to throw out a super chat. But if you throw out a super chat, I'm going to read the super chat. Flowers to LeBron, playing 3, 4, 5 positions on NBA in his 23rd season, playing like a Swiss Army knife. Amazing what Bron is still doing in the NBA. Not a Bron fan. Damn, that's refreshing to read that comment. Did somebody who's not a LeBron fan just give LeBron credit? I didn't know that was possible. I thought the only way you can give LeBron credit is if you're a LeBron fan. And I thought if you love LeBron, then you could say nothing negative about him. That's kind of a refreshing one. Well, EP or ELP, I'm gonna keep this one and I'm gonna come back to it because I have a segment here, everyone playing their role, and this is specifically about LeBron and some of these other players. So I'm going to do that here in just a little bit. So I'll come back to this, but that's refreshing. I don't typically see any comments like that. I really don't. Slee, Lakers are hitting their stride and discovering their identity at the right time. It's fun to watch. Well, they went through a long stretch here where they were not an enjoyable watch. They just weren't. And to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of it had to do with basketball. A lot of it had to do with effort. A lot of it had to do, like I mentioned, are they in it for the fight or are they not? And there are a lot of games that we watched the Lakers where it felt like, nope, they're not in it for the fight. They're not trying to get. They need things to be going perfectly their way in order to, get a result that they're looking for. And I think these last couple of weeks, they've shown that they can win differently and they could find different ways to grind out a game. And last night was a really good example. All right, let's get some more here. With Şengün being out, it made it easy for the Lakers to blitz KD, being that he's a terrible passer. Here's my question. Again, I'm not an NBA head coach. Take KD off the ball and don't have him on the ball 27 feet away from the basket. I mean, if you want to showcase Kevin Durant, there's a way to showcase KD, and I don't think it's having him 20. You basically took KD out of the game. And the Houston Rockets and their head coach, Ime Udoka, single-handedly took KD out of the game by putting him 27 feet away from the basket, and Lakers saying, all right, well, you're such a non-factor this far away from the basket. We'll throw 2 guys at you, and you're so far away from the basket that we have time to recover and have somebody else obviously take jumpers. All right, let me look at a couple more here, and I want to keep moving here. Let's see what we got here. Been loving Marcus Smart recently, but it scares the ever-living death out of me relying on him late threes in a game. Yeah, I think there's, 2 things that come with Austin Reeves, or 2 things that come with Marcus Smart. The first thing is that dude can go out there and defend anybody on the floor, even at his age and even some of the mileage that he has. He draws offensive fouls. I mean, Marcus Smart is just a phenomenal player. And he's going to be an even bigger factor for the Lakers once we get in the playoffs. So the real true experience you're going to get with Marcus Smart is once you get to the postseason. I don't disagree with you on the 3-point shooting. He's had some clutch games, like yesterday, Lakers up 20, it's a corner 3. He's had some games that he's struggled. Absolutely no question about it. There's a combination of both of those. He's not afraid to take that shot. And to be honest with you, he's hit enough of them where I think you got to keep honest on him. So I'll take my chances with Marcus Smart. I think the Lakers are going to be okay on that front. All right, I want to keep moving here. There's still, a bunch of topics to get into, so let's keep things moving here. Let me just give everyone a quick reminder here of one of our partners. Shout out to Harrah Resort SoCal. HarrahSoCal.com is the website. If you are looking for a staycation, we got a spot for you. We have a spot for you as far as a staycation goes. It's HarrahSoCal.com, 1 to 2 hours away from anywhere in Southern California. I am looking forward to getting on a call a little bit later today with iHeart and with AM 570. We are coordinating our April 2nd post-game show, which we're going to do after the Lakers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. This, just so you guys know, this is a link that I have in the description that goes straight to booking. Well, why do I have this link? Because if you use this link, you get 20% off when you book. There's a lot of reasons why you should consider Harrah Resort SoCal for a staycation. I got a friend of mine who's also a listener of the show yesterday just booked in the month of April. He found a couple of days to book for him and his family. If you got a family, you got the lazy river, you got so many different things that are there for the kids. If you're just looking to go hang out for a couple of days, you can enjoy great entertainment, comedians, musicians, the restaurants, Hell's Kitchen, which I've mentioned before. So a lot of different reasons to go out there. And if you are considering going out, make sure you use our code, take advantage of it, 20% off on the weekdays. Shout out to Harrah Resort, which is a phenomenal partner, and I appreciate them obviously being a part of the channel and the show. HarrahSoCal.com to go get some more information. Okay, we'll keep things moving here, and I want to get into another topic as we keep things rolling. Control their own destiny. So this is what's happened for the Lakers by winning yesterday. Here's what's happened for the Lakers. They needed to split against Denver, which they did, and they have the tiebreaker over the Nuggets. They needed to win that game on Saturday, which they did. They needed to the Minnesota Timberwolves, they already owned the tiebreaker because it was so late into the season or early in the season. They took the first 2 games and they kind of put themselves in the driver's seat. But they also beat Minnesota last week, which helped as well, which given a little bit of a cushion here. Tomorrow, the Lakers have something very unique in front of them. If they find a way to beat the Houston Rockets tomorrow, they will own the tiebreaker over the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Houston Rockets. In a weird way for the Lakers, however the season started, however the ups and downs, however the injuries, however you want to call it, tomorrow the Lakers can 100% control their own destiny for the number 3 spot in the Western Conference. And I get it. There are going to be people that have some doubt in regards to, well, what does it really matter if they got home court in the first round? Or what, you know what, Al? They had home court last year in the NBA playoffs in the first round. They were out in 5 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I understand that people want to have some of that hesitation. I'm going to tell you that whatever happened last year is truly, truly irrelevant to this season. The team's not the same. The playoff picture isn't the same. Other teams in the NBA in the Western Conference are not the same. So I don't think it matters. I think those that are trying to kind of tie last season to this year, I know why you're trying to do it, but what do you want them to do then? Not get home court in the first round? Not try to beat some of these teams that are in front of them, not have the tiebreaker on the Rockets and Denver and Minnesota. I mean, they've put themselves in a phenomenal position, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens the rest of the season. Here's a question I want to ask Laker fans, which I think is a very, very fair question. So we know the Lakers do control their own destiny. We do know that since the All-Star break, the Lakers have beat the Clippers, the Knicks, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the Rockets. So if you were looking at them trying to beat teams over 500, they've done that. The only loss that they have is that road loss against Denver, which they started the game out down 15-3 or something like that, and then came back and made it a game towards the end, but just didn't have enough to win. They're beating good teams. They've got a really good record. They've got a chance to, again, put themselves, really create a cushion, in the Western Conference in that number 3 spot. They've put themselves in just a phenomenal position. With all that in mind, the question I would have is, Has your expectations for the Lakers changed because of these last 2 weeks? And let me tell you what I mean here. If before the conversation was, hey, I think the Lakers, their ceiling, the best they can do, not even their ceiling. It was kind of, I would tell you before the Lakers went on this streak and when they had lost 3 games in a row and they lost to Boston, Orlando, and Phoenix, for me, it's like, yeah, this team's out in the first round. They're not getting past the first round. They hadn't proved enough that they could do anything consistent enough. They haven't proved that they can get stops and play defense. They hadn't proved that they were a consistent three-point shooting team. That I thought there was a cap to the Lakers season. And frankly, I just thought they were going to make the playoffs and that was it. They're going to be a wrap. They'll probably be a 5th or a 6th seed and they're out in the first round. Based on these last 2 weeks, how has your playoff expectations changed? I'll tell you how it's changed for me. How it's changed for me is would be really disappointed if they can't get out of the first round. And frankly, I'd be disappointed if they can't put up a fight in the second round. Now, the path in the Western Conference is brutal, is absolutely brutal. Whoever they play in the first round, let's say the Lakers stay at the number 3 seed. If they had Houston and then San Antonio and then OKC, I mean, that path is brutal. If they had Minnesota, San Antonio, and OKC, or Denver, which I think is the worst path, Denver, San Antonio, and OKC, whatever path you take in the Western Conference, it's brutal. But based on these last couple of weeks for me, my playoff expectations, they have changed. They have changed a little bit because the Lakers have shown that they can beat good teams. They can beat quality opponents. They can win in some different ways. They got one of the best players in the world in Luka Doncic. They got a player in Austin Reeves that obviously we know when he's at his best what he can do. It feels like a lot of players are starting to understand a little bit more of what their role is, and that clarity helps the Lakers. So I look at this Lakers team now, and I do think they got a ceiling. I do think that having a similar conversation I was having with Dave McMenamin yesterday, I don't think that part has changed, but be disappointed if they're out in the first round. And I'd be disappointed that they're not putting up a fight against the San Antonio Spurs in that second round in a competitive second round matchup. I think that's kind of how my expectations have changed. And that's what I look at the Lakers now from a playoff perspective. Now, I mean, if you told me, what teams you'd like to avoid in the first round, I can give you that list of who I'd like to see the Lakers avoid. I don't want to play Denver in the first round. And I think if they play Denver in the first round, that's a tough first round matchup. And I'm not surprised or shocked if they lose in that first round if they play Denver. If they played Houston, I kind of have the expectation that the Lakers, I'd be disappointed if they don't get out of the first round. And Minnesota, I know the Lakers struggled against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I do think Minnesota is so reliant on one player in Anthony Edwards. I do think the Lakers can beat Minnesota in a first round matchup as well. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments, see how people view this and how the playoffs have potentially changed for the Lakers. All right, let's see what we got here. Rockets do not have a true point guard. Continue to pressure whoever is handling the ball. Yeah, and I'm going to give Houston. I'm going to give them a little bit of rope on this. They were built to have Fred VanVleet as their starting point guard. And the fact that they don't has changed everything. And even if you take a guy like Reed Sheppard, who's having a good season this year, now he becomes your backup point guard. That's a nice backup point guard to have. By the way, that dude's got some anybody know that this guy can get up the way he did? A couple of dunks yesterday. I mean, where the hell did this come from? That's pretty impressive yesterday from Reed Sheppard. But clearly the Houston Rockets are missing a quarterback. And if you're going to try to get KD to quarterback your team, you're going to struggle. That's not what KD is. Let me be a wide receiver. Let me be a tight end. Let me, throw the ball to me at the right place and I make plays. He's not a quarterback, and clearly he's not. So, but by the way, this is why I think there is a hole with the Houston Rockets. And if there's a team, if you told me right now, rank between Houston, Minnesota, and Denver, who you want to play most and who you want to play least, I'd rather play Houston, then I'd rather play Minnesota, And then I'd rather play the Denver Nuggets last. I want to avoid the Denver Nuggets like no tomorrow. I really do. Let's get a couple more of these in here. Like I said, I think the best thing to happen to them was LeBron missing those games against the Timberwolves and the Knicks to get that thing going. It could be. Maybe that's exactly what the Lakers needed, and they did win games, and the 1-2 punch was clearly Luka and Austin Reeves, and maybe that was the best thing, a blessing in disguise from that perspective. All right, let's see what else we have here. Someone unlocked the cheat code. This isn't the same team if Ayton continues to hustle and James assuming his role. Watch the F out. Okay? By the way, you have every reason to think differently about this team than the way you thought about this team. Whatever your perception was as of a couple of weeks ago, you have every reason to think completely different about this team. Doesn't mean they're going to go win an NBA championship, but you definitely have a reason to think differently about them. The Lakers were a third seed last year, and they still lost in the first round in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Matchups are everything in the NBA. Let's just hope for the best. I don't think the Lakers are the same team. I don't. Let me ask you this question, and I don't think we have an answer to this until we get to the playoffs. You think J.J. Redick is a better coach this season than last year? Think he's got more experience? Do you think there's more clarity between the roles of Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James? Do you think having Ayton and Jackson Hayes as your two centers is better than what they had last season? You think having some of these other role players like Luke Kennard and Rui Hachimura and Jake LaRavia is better than what the Lakers brought out last year? I think they're a better team than last season. I think they've also had more time together. I think J.J. Redick is a better coach. It doesn't mean they can't lose in the first round. They can't. I mean, how stupid would I look? They get the number 3 seed again. They go up against Minnesota, and they're out in the first round again. That could very well happen. I mean, you go up against Denver. I still think could be a wild, wild headache, and I think everything you can to avoid them, but obviously it's not something that the Lakers have control over. But I do think they're a better team than they were last season. I don't think it's the same team as last year. Slee, does a relatively successful season make the offseason moves harder or easier for the front office? They're more fun to watch lately, but the overall goal for future is same, correct? It's a good question. Yeah, I think the overall goal for the Lakers, whatever happens this season, unless it's like they just get demolished in the playoffs and Austin Reeves is awful, I think the goal is still the same. And I don't think you really change much of whatever the trajectory of what the summer is going to look like. I think we all already know it. Build around Luka, lock up Austin Reeves long term. If Giannis Antetokounmpo has interest in the Lakers, then you obviously change some things. But if he doesn't, then you just start putting together a team that has a little bit of that Dallas Mavericks feel to it when they went to the NBA Finals. So I don't think, even though the Lakers are having some success here, I still think LeBron's probably not going to be on the team next year. I still think that, and whether that's LeBron's decision or that's the Lakers' decision, or he decides to go back to Cleveland or he decides to retire, I still think there's going to be kind of the basis of how we look at the Lakers is still going to be the same, in the sense that however you think they should be game planning for the future, I still think they're going to be game planning for the future. All right, good comments here so far. Am I crazy to think it's possible teams would tank for the 6th seed to avoid the Oklahoma City bracket? Honestly, I could see it. Just a conspiracy theory of mine. Would they tank to avoid the Thunder? Well, let me put it this way. If you told me, would the Denver Nuggets prefer to be the number 5 seed or the number 6 seed? I think they would prefer to be the number 6 seed. Because I think in a weird way, I'm not telling you they're going to tank, but I'm just telling you, which path would you prefer? You don't have home court in the first round either way, whether you're a 5th or a 6th seed. And then the question just becomes, do you want the champs in the second round, or do you want a San Antonio Spurs team where Victor Wembanyama has never played a playoff game yet? And Don't get me wrong. I think the Spurs are stacked, and I think they could get to the NBA Finals. I think they can win an NBA championship. But I think there's something to that. I think there's a little bit to that. All right, let's keep rolling here. Get one more in here. Not scared by the Wolves for a big reason why they're struggling is because Randall looks like a shell of himself. Yeah, they're so dependent on one player. Did you guys see? I think it was Alexander Walker yesterday. I want to see what his stat lines were, and the only reason why I'm mentioning him is obviously he was a part of the playoffs. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a part of the playoffs last season for the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's a big piece they lost. He's been phenomenal for the Atlanta Hawks, who've won like 9 or 10 games in a row. He's averaging 20 a game. He had 41 yesterday against the Orlando Magic. So they also don't have the same exact team. We're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They also don't have the exact same squad. Am I right on this, by the way, that Atlanta's won 10 in a row? Let me double check this. I know they're balling. Look at the Hawks. Impressive. Atlanta's won 10 in a row. Still only in the 8th seed. But they've won 10 games in a row. So what they can do from here, we'll have to wait and see. But that comment about Minnesota not being the same team, I do agree. I don't think they're the same team. I don't. Like I said, if I'm giving you a rankings here of what teams that I want to avoid, I really just want to avoid Denver in that first round. Denver, Houston, and Minnesota are built to beat OKC. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't think maybe if you want to make a case that OKC or Denver has, if they're completely healthy and they're playing good ball, can be a headache to anybody. That part I agree with. I don't agree with the other stuff. All right, let's keep moving on here. So I had this comment a little bit earlier about everyone playing a role. So I'm gonna come back to it. This was a super that we had a little bit earlier. Flowers to LeBron playing 3, 4, 5 position on the NBA in his 23rd season. Kind of doing a little bit of everything, and he's not even a LeBron fan, and he's giving LeBron credit. I don't remember ever somebody saying they're not a LeBron fan and giving LeBron credit. That to me is like, on this day, March 17th, this is a day that I should remember forever, because usually there's only 2 camps. LeBron's never made a mistake in his life. LeBron is causing problems around the world. It's one or the other. There's never kind of a middleman here. But they're not a LeBron fan, but let's give LeBron credit. There was a quote yesterday that I think, I don't want to say threw everybody off. No, it didn't throw everybody off, but I thought it was a good clarity moment in regards to the Lakers pecking order. And there was a comment a little bit earlier talking about how LeBron being out for a couple of games might have helped him in regards to seeing how the Lakers had success, seeing how Luka and AR play together, how all the other role players play together, and beating teams like the Knicks and the Timberwolves when LeBron wasn't there. Here's a quote yesterday from JJ Redick pregame talking about LeBron. He said he's still going to be and still has been a high usage relative to your average player. The best thing for our team is him being the 3rd highest used player. So JJ basically saying that the best thing for the Lakers right now is it's Luka, it's AR, and then it's LeBron James as far as high usage player, the person with the ball in their hands. 3rd most on this team should be LeBron. He goes on to say, obviously there's been stretches of the year where he's had to do more with injuries or guys being out of the lineup. And I think finding rhythm and a groove within the rotations and lineups when those 3 guys play, I think that's been the challenge for all of them, not just LeBron all season. And we didn't have the early parts of the year to ramp up. Austin gets hurt roughly for 2 months. It's a lot of managing stuff on the fly because of all the injuries. And finding these guys, getting in a rhythm and finding that groove for all 3 of those guys. So I thought this was interesting because to me, it said a couple of things. First off, JJ Redick is not shying away of basically saying this is what we need from LeBron. He's not shying away from saying we have players on this team for us to have the most amount of success possible. there's certain guys that got to have the ball in their hands. And we've been talking about it. It's not like this hasn't been a conversation. It's been a conversation everywhere. Yesterday, I was talking about it with Dave McMenamin. Once that stat went up against the Knicks, where the Lakers were 9-2 or 10-2, whatever that record was without LeBron, but Luka and AR play, the narrative started being written about, hey, are the Lakers better off without LeBron? Are the Lakers this, that? No, they're not better off without LeBron, but it's figuring out how do you use those three pieces together in the best way possible. Those pieces don't fit perfectly. I mean, this isn't, clearly it's not the best trio that's ever been put together. Especially with one guy who's in his prime, 26 years old, another guy that's kind of figuring out, well, I'm 27, but I need the ball in my hands, but I got Luka and I got LeBron, and then LeBron 41. But I think what JJ Redick was saying yesterday was, this is how we win. There has to be a pecking order, and there has to be, doesn't mean one guy is more important than the other. It just means stylistically, this is our best shot of winning. Luka's got the ball in his hands X amount percentage of the time. Then Austin Reeves got the ball, and he's got a chance to be a playmaker. And then LeBron kind of fits in wherever after those two eat. Let me kind of figure out how I can put on all these different hats and be the best version of myself at age 41. It's not disrespect to LeBron. It's actually it's an unbelievable compliment to LeBron that he's still able to do what he's doing at this age and still able to adjust. I think LeBron's numbers yesterday, 18, 5, and 5, shot over 50% from the field, was effective, was efficient, had plays on the defensive side, had plays on the offensive end. There was a lot of trying to be made about, I'm going to give you another example here. There was some stuff being made yesterday about DeAndre Ayton and Clint Capela. And it's like, every time I saw that, people were trying to make a conversation about this, there's a reason why. Obviously, Clint Capela calling out, or Ayton calling out Clint Capela. In my head, I'm like, Ayton, just play your role. Nobody cares about this Clint Capela, DeAndre Ayton matchup. I don't care about it. Just play your role. And if LeBron James is playing a role for the Los Angeles Lakers, if we're watching LeBron James make a decision that what's in the best interest of my team, and if in the best interest of my team, I'm the third highest usage player on this team, what the hell do you think DeAndre Ayton should be doing from a sacrificing perspective? Or Jake LaRavia, or Rui Hachimura, or go down Luke Kennard, go down the list of all these players. I mean, every single player should be following LeBron's lead. So I do think that was interesting to see. And then, yesterday, again, how many shots did Luka take? He took 27. Not shocked there, by the way. Austin took 18 and LeBron took 13. So I think that you saw with that trio yesterday that those three players, obviously got an opportunity to play their role the best they can, and everybody's kind of stepping into their own role. Everybody's got to play a role. It's kind of as simple as that. And even a guy as legendary as LeBron, who will go down as one of the top 2-3 players to ever play the game, at age 41, he's now playing a role for the Lakers because that's in the best interest of the team. So obviously from that perspective, I think a lot that you could take away. So to go back to, that super of somebody saying, hey, I'm giving LeBron his flowers, I think you should. And I think it's smart from LeBron to do so. And it's obviously gives the Lakers a better shot to win games. All right, let's go take a look at some of these comments here. All right, I'm going to come back to that D1 or that DeAndre Ayton comment. JJ finally acting like a real coach. Yeah, listen, he's being honest. And I'm not telling you that that's an easy path to walk. We're talking about LeBron. We are talking about one of the greatest to ever play the game. And to be public about it and to have those conversations privately with LeBron, without trying to disrespect him or anything like that, I'm sure that's not the easiest conversation. I'm sure LeBron kind of sits back and says, all right, well, this shit better work, because if it doesn't, then I'm LeBron and I got more confidence in myself than any of these other players. And the only way LeBron's confidence can change is obviously if he sees that the team is having success and those individuals are having success. All right, let's get another one here from Joe Smith. I agree. I'm not a LeBron person, but I love what he's doing now. Now, everybody, where the hell were all you guys when things weren't going well? No, listen, as long as people are admitting that, hey, this might be the best way to use him and it is working, I think I agree to that. Let's get no LeBron fan here. As you all know, I do also respect the recent buy. That I'll admit it. Okay. That's good. Question from the biggest LeBron James hater. If LeBron goes on a deep run in their where Lakers bring him back, vet minimum new role. I got a really difficult time thinking they'll bring him back. I do. Now, maybe that can change. Maybe there is this really good playoff run and LeBron's playing a role and everybody understands their role. And LeBron's like, hey, bring me back for $10 million a year. And now all of a sudden, how does that kind of calculus change? How do they view LeBron from that perspective? I still think in order for the Lakers for it to really be Luka's team and for them to build properly around Luka, I still think this probably should be the last season when LeBron is a Laker. So I still believe that. I don't think that's changed for me, but I do want them to make the best they possibly can of the season that's in front of them. All right, let's get some more in here. By the way, awesome comments. Really good comments today. Am I crazy to think it's possible teams would tank for the six? Oh, no, we already read that one. No, I don't think you're crazy. I think there's a little bit of that. All right, let's talk a little bit of all right, let me get one more in. I want to talk a little bit about DeAndre and then I got a question about why the Lakers can't move up in these power rankings. What am I missing here with these power rankings? I think it was ESPN last week. I got one from The Athletic. I'm like, how do you move up in these power rankings? Let me catch this one here real quick. Coaching a team to 50 wins last year and on pace to coach a team to 50 plus again this year is apparently not good enough to YouTube commenters. Here's the problem with let me tell you why I think people are hesitating on JJ Redick. I'll tell you why, because I think I have the answer. And I think it's a fair answer. Okay. JJ, I thought, was really, really good in his first year as a head coach. Really good. To win 50 games in the Western Conference, lock up the number 3 seed. Look at how many different lineups the Lakers had last year, how many different starting lineups. For the love of God, they traded Anthony Davis in the middle of the season, plus Max Christie. They brought in Luka Doncic. Clearly, there are a lot of pieces that didn't work, and they were still able to be successful. And like I said, get 50 wins. He got really outcoached in the playoffs. And maybe that is the roster. And maybe it is because they didn't have enough big men. And maybe it is because the Minnesota Timberwolves exposed the Lakers and they didn't have enough size and everything else. You're not wrong. I think Minnesota clearly was the better team. But the problem is they got really exposed in the postseason. And that typically is like the last thing people remember about your head coach. So if JJ Redick is on a similar trajectory this year, and he's coaching better again, and there's 50 wins coming up here, and they might be a number 3 seed again, people are going to look back and say, yeah, but he's already accomplished that. What does he do in the postseason? And the only way for the taste in their mouth to change about JJ Redick is he does have a good playoff series. And there are moments where he looks like he's out coaching some of these other elite coaches in the Western Conference. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I thought he outcoached Ime Udoka. I thought Ime Udoka did. I don't even know how to explain what Ime Udoka was doing yesterday. They made no adjustments. They ran the same play in the fourth quarter. It clearly wasn't working. And Ime Udoka was just like, we'll run it again. Ime Udoka looked like amateur hour yesterday, where JJ Redick actually was making some adjustments and the Lakers were getting pretty good shots off. They just weren't hitting their threes. I say that because people are going to have certain thoughts about JJ Redick, and that's not going to change until he changes that narrative this upcoming postseason. So if they do win in the first round and JJ Redick, you feel like has a lot to do with that and learned from some of his mistakes last season, then I think the perception of JJ Redick will start changing as well. But if Lakers are out in the first round again this year, then people are going to say, guys, I don't care how many games JJ Redick wins in the regular season. I don't care what happens. The guy can't coach in the playoffs. Or when it comes to the playoffs and all of a sudden these coaches are playing chess, they're not playing checkers, JJ Redick can't hang with them. So he's going to have to change a little bit of his narrative come the regular season. But, I mean, come on. He was amazing last season to win 50 games, but he was outcoached in the first round. And the problem with JJ Redick is he's also remembered for doing something no other head coach has done in the history of the NBA last season. That's what he's remembered for in the playoffs. He didn't make a sub in the second half. Lakers lost that game. They eventually lost the series. And then when he was asked about it and challenged about it, he grabbed his ball and went home. That's how I remember JJ Redick last season. Doesn't mean that he can't change the narrative this upcoming postseason. It just means that that's what we remember from JJ Redick last season. That's all it means. It's a good comment. And by the way, this is people giving credit to, I see people giving credit to LeBron this morning. I see people giving credit to JJ this morning. What happened to this chat? My God. I thought everybody just yelled at each other. I don't have an issue with it. I know people are always critical, and you should be critical if that's how you feel. Here's who I'm not going to be critical about. Someone who always wins in the postseason. Talking about Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Can help anybody in the state of California. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. I'm going to keep just that website in your mind. I'm going to keep that website in your head. That's the only thing that matters. If you ever need an injury attorney, if you're in a position or a situation where you're asking yourself, my God, I need somebody that understands the business in and out. I need somebody that will fight against these insurance companies that are always trying to settle. I want to give you the least amount of money possible, least amount of what you deserve. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. That's the website. He's the first one to jump on my YouTube channel when obviously I left radio and came independently. He's still here. I'm very appreciative of him. And he's helped out the channel a lot in many different ways. And it's not just advertising on the channel. It's advice that he's given me, people that he's connected me with within the industry. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. All I ask is if you ever need an injury attorney, you go to our guy, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. That's WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's see what we have here. JJ is not a good coach by any metric. You are wish casting if you think otherwise. He's probably going to run the starters all second half again in the playoffs based on him not playing Vando at all now. Well, let's see what happens in the playoffs. Because the only way you're going to be right or you're going to be wrong is based on what we see in the postseason. I'll just tell you this. Avoid Denver in the first round. Denver would be a wild headache in the first round. But if it is Houston or it is Minnesota, then it's obviously on JJ Redick's shoulders to try to figure out. Obviously, players got to play to figure out how to make it happen. There was a comment that I had here, and I'm going to spend just a quick second on this. Can't win with DA struggling offensively. It won't work. He's the starting center on the LA Lakers. Yeah, last night was probably not the game to equate when it comes to that. I don't think that's, Ayton obviously did anything special. 7 points, 11 rebounds, did have 6 offensive rebounds, did get most of his stuff kind of late in the game. I don't disagree that you need more from DeAndre Ayton. He has games where he looks like, hey, I'm ready to go. He's got other games where that isn't the case. But if last night was a Ayton Capela battle, I don't know. By the way, I never want to hear an Ayton Capela battle. I never want to hear that that's the case, but I know sometimes that is the case. But in regards to his game last night, I thought he was okay. I thought the final 3-4 minutes, they gave him an opportunity and he delivered for the Lakers. But yes, he's going to need to do more. I don't think anyone's really questioning that. Okay, couple kind of final things to get into, and then I want to get into NBA stories. So I thought this was interesting. I need everybody's help here for a quick second. I know the power rankings don't mean everything. I know the world's not going to end. I do like looking at the Athletics power rankings. I think the Athletic does a great job covering the NBA. But somebody help me out here. Let's go through the list here, and you guys can tell me where you think Lakers are. Okay. Top contenders in a good place, the bubble, not the tier to fear, basement floor. This is the tiers that the Athletic runs these off of. All right, no surprise here. Oklahoma City, number 1 team in the NBA. Okay. Spurs, number 2 here. Again, no surprise. We'll leave this as it is. Keep rolling here. Number 3, the Detroit Pistons. All right, they finally started getting some wins. I know they had been struggling a little bit, so they won a couple of games last week. The Knicks at number 4. We sure about this? I don't know why they have the Knicks at number 4. Let's keep going. My bigger question is why the Lakers are so far behind. They got Boston at number 5. So instantly, I start questioning these standings or the Athletic here. How do you have the Boston Celtics not the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference? I could even make a case they might be the best team in the East. We'll keep going. The Houston Rockets, this is before yesterday's game that these rankings came out. They got the Rockets in front of the Lakers. They got Orlando in front of the Lakers, the Cavs in front of the Lakers, and then the Lakers at number 9. What am I missing here? Am I missing something? Come on, Athletic. I want to come to the Athletic. I want to point out that the Athletic is a source of phenomenal Lakers information. Guys, how do you got these teams in front of the Lakers? Lakers 18 games over 500. They got the Cavs in front of them. They got the Orlando. All right, we're done. That's all I just wanted to make sure that I communicate that. I don't understand what the hell the Athletic is doing in regards to that. Those don't make any sense to me. And that one was a little bit disappointing to see. I thought I'm looking at the Athletic. I'm like, that's it. Lakers are going to be top 5 in the NBA. I'm looking and it's nowhere even close to that. So I don't know what you guys want me to do with those Athletic power rankings, but get your ish together, Athletic. The hell's making these power rankings? Doesn't make any sense to me. Makes no sense to me. All right, I'm going to read some comments here to end the show, and then I'm also going to do a couple NBA stories. Let's get into the NBA stories here real quick. The big story right now around the NBA is NBA expansion. Good article in Yahoo Sports about the pros and cons of Seattle and Las Vegas. By the way, there are no other. It's just basically looks like it's just going to be Seattle and Vegas, and that's it, which isn't surprising. If I'm being completely honest, I like the idea of the Seattle Supersonics. Love the idea, actually. They should, of course, have a team. I don't really care about the Vegas team. I don't know. That really doesn't do anything for me. But Vegas is definitely going to end up with a team. So Vegas is going to go from having nothing in professional sports to the Knights, to obviously the A's, eventually, I think, the Raiders, and then also going to have an NBA team. They're going to have 4 professional teams like that overnight. The Yahoo Sports article says the pros, NBA is deeper than ever, 2 more destination cities, LeBron the owner, new team names. So anyways, they're talking about all the pros. The cons, they're saying, are there enough superstars to go around, more tanking, and the rich getting richer? So kind of an interesting way of looking at it. The one thing I will say, NBA teams not part of the expansion draft can only protect 8 players who are under contract or restricted free agents from an expansion draft. So keep that in mind as we get a little bit closer to that expansion draft happening. Lakers will be in a position where they're going to have to protect some players. All right, the West now, 3 through 6, separated by 2 games. Of course, we know with the Lakers, they've put themselves in a position where by tomorrow they can have all these tiebreakers. Couple games from yesterday. The Celtics beat the Suns 120-112. So the Phoenix Suns now kind of fallen. I don't think any of these teams are going to have to worry about, I don't think Denver, Minnesota, or Houston, or the Lakers are going to have to worry about falling into that play-in tournament. It's going to be the Phoenix Suns. So something to keep in mind there. All right, couple other things to point out here. Spurs beat the Clippers yesterday, 119-115. And then Steve Kerr got his 600th career win as Warriors beat the Wizards yesterday. So Steve Kerr, again, gets his 600th win. So something to keep in mind here. He's joining a pretty elite class there And Kerr is the 4th fastest coach to reach 600 wins. Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and Greg Popovich did it quicker. That's it. So that list is obviously very, very short as far as how fast they got there. That's right. And in regards to Vegas as well, they got the Aces as well, Las Vegas Aces, which is impressive in its own right because the Aces have been very successful as well. I'm talking about Vegas. All right, let's get a few more of these comments in here, and then we're going to call it a day. Read my comment. Salute, Slee. Tony, I don't know if you have another comment or it's just that comment. Got it. This one. Slee, DA has to score a minimum 10 points a night. Agree. I mean, think about this for a second. Is that the bar we've set for DeAndre Ayton? By the way, I'm not disagreeing here. But if that's the bar and you can't meet that bar, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, DeAndre Ayton can't score 10 points a game. How about we raise the bar a little bit? Can you get 13 and 8 a night? Is that too much to ask for? Everyone's playing their role, and all he has to do is play his role. And if he plays his role, I think 13 and 8 should be a walk in the park. I like how Tony, I didn't read it, so then Tony just threw out another one, but this time with some money. Tony went, hey, listen, throw some cash on the table here. Read my last comment. All right, I think I got it. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you. All right, final couple of ones here. Orlando 7th. Yeah, it makes no sense. Vancouver, I'd be all in for Vancouver. I got no problem with Vancouver on that one. Good Slee. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, let's get one more comment in here. I do wish Vancouver had a team again. It's different now that it was back when it was back in the 90s. All right, I think we're good, everybody. I think we had a good little show here today. Tomorrow, by the way, let me give a couple quick reminders here. Let's see right here. Let's see what we got here. A couple quick reminders for tomorrow. Here's what we got tomorrow. Ryan Hollins is going to join the show. Ryan Hollins, you guys know, 10-year vet in the NBA, also does TV right now for the Houston Rockets. The plan is for him to join the show. We'll break down the Lakers-Rockets game for tomorrow. Later today, Sammy's going to put up a preview video. By the way, phenomenal stuff. Sammy and Eric now producing the show, did a preview video for last night's game. Or maybe it was a game against Denver. No, it was last night's game. And over 4,000 views. So phenomenal. I'm glad that you guys are liking some of those preview videos. Keep supporting the channel. We greatly appreciate that. Fun show today. Thank you, everybody, for coming on here. And appreciate you guys hanging out for a solid hour. Back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Keep an eye out for the preview video coming out a little bit later today. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody.